Welcome. Karibu to the Swahili speakers. Bienvenue for French. My name is Joska. I'm Joska Mondi. I'm a queer rights activist and a movement mobilizer. I'm based in Kenya. I am SMT's Africa Movement Support Coordinator. I've been using a lot of strategic communications together with online and offline mobilization skills for campaigning. And then when the pandemic hit, that's when I dived deeper into digital campaigning, and that's why I'm here today. So we'll start by introductions, and maybe I can invite my teammates to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Philip Govier. I am an online organizer, campaigner. I've done quite some organizing and movement building online and offline for campaigns and beyond. I'm into aspects of digital rights and digital security and more. But I'm also an Africa team member of Social Movement Technologies. Glad to have everyone here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Safa, and I'm based in Jordan. I am a member of SMT Social Movement Technology MENA team. I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate all of you.
Salam everybody. My name is Ahmed El Madhoun. I am digital campaigner, work with SMT from Palestine. I help the association to build their campaign and win the justice. I have 4 years experience in coaching and building digital campaign and helping association in Palestine and MENA region.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asha Jafar. I'm based in Nairobi. I'm a journalist and activist. I've been an activist for the last 10 years. And just last year, I won the Activist of the Year award. And yeah, for me, like activism defines more of like why we are here and also like what we do. Yeah, so nice to meet everyone.
I'm Hannah Roditi, Social Movement Technologies Director. I'm based in the States, longtime community and union organizer and campaigner.
Hi, my name is Vic Harris. I'm the movement support coordinator, and I'm based in the US. And my position is focused on organizational and participant success around training and coaching and campaign support. And previously, I was working in the reproductive justice field.
I'm Kevin. I'm based in Chicago, and my background is in local and state issue and electoral organizing. And I also have helped to run a number of coaching cohorts in the US, and just really excited to support the rest of the team in this session.
Great. So we're also going to look at why ramp up online, and then look at the program and the coaching process, including assessment, one-on-one coaching, and small group and on-demand trainings. And then later on, we'll have groups and a funder share the experience with coaching. But before we jump to that, just a brief introduction about SMT, who we are and what we do. In a nutshell is that SMT is a nonprofit NGO movement partner, and we do trainings, assessments, coaching or accompaniments, and we also offer direct campaign support. Over the last 8 years, we've managed to train staff and leaders from 3,400 groups worldwide, and I've worked more in depth with over 100 groups. Also, we are a proud member of the Pacific Media Workers Guild, because yes to unionizing, right?
Great, so great, Joska, and I'll pick up from here. So we shall just be talking about online organizing and why. So online organizing is now an essential skill for activists and campaigners. And we're finding and engaging our people because it's key to find our target audience, since they are hugely online now. Harnessing broader community support, we do this because people are online, and it's also key to engage the broader community. With support, you also need to pressure the targets. We're amplifying direct action, and online organizing is a way for us to make offline action visible for a broad audience, especially important since we can't count on the mainstream media to do that for us. Let's talk about amplifying direct action, because online organizing is a way for us to make our offline actions visible to a broad audience. And it is especially important since we can't count on the mainstream media to do that. Pressuring targets and secondary targets when they're vulnerable. And we look at Twitter as an example that has been hugely invested into by elected officials and corporations that have invested heavily into hashtags. It's very useful for organizing, especially during campaigns. Creating a news source for skeleton news stuff. We know media outlets are understaffed and may not directly cover an action. And activists are using Twitter, for example, to share breaking news, video, and quotes. And it's getting directly picked up from Twitter by the media. And shaping the narrative, if we're not filling the online spaces with our narrative, our position will be. So we're in battle for the story of what's going on, and it's critical that we fill these online spaces with our narrative. So not just for COVID. So why invest in training up ourselves? Social media habits are changing all the time. For example, messaging has become very popular. Chatbots are developing, and TikTok can now be a source of political education. Yeah? Personal use of these tools is different from organizing. And just because you use WhatsApp to message friends doesn't mean you know how best to use WhatsApp missed call campaigns to build activist WhatsApp groups and pressure targets. And tools are developing all the time. For example, petition tools where you can keep your data and can then message people who have signed via text message. Tactics are changing. Movements are developing new tactics that combine online and offline action. For example, when Kenya recently crashed live Facebook and Twitter sessions that were held by the IMF with hundreds of comments, forcing the IMF to shut down the live session. Evidence-based practices are evolving. We need to know what they are, for example, messaging or framing. And research is constantly underway to help organizing groups understand what framing works. For example, to inspire people to act on climate. Yeah? And the antis are investing heavily online. Our position is investing online. You can just take a look at the hundreds of thousands of followers that a lot of autocratic leaders have cultivated on social media platforms. They're constantly putting their narrative out there. So we need to be there too.
Wonderful, Philip. So just to go through quickly, here are the elements of this, the mini grants for coaching program. So this is what the coaching program looks like. And it's really based on the experience that we've had over a number of years now in the US, and then some experience over the last year in Africa and MENA region. So it incorporates, so the whole idea is working with a group to help them ramp up powerfully online in a number of priority areas. So it involves 6 to 9 months of accompaniment or coaching support. We found that, it takes that amount of time to really be able to ramp up in specific areas. So we start with an assessment, deciding together with staff of the group on priorities. We meet on average, generally speaking, about once every 2 weeks for a total of around 40 hours of SMT's staff team time. So sometimes what we'll find is that many groups that we're working with all have some of the same needs, and then we can also combine some little small group trainings to make the time go farther, to make it more efficient. But we also find that that individual time responding to the needs of each group is really important. And there needs to be enough time in between meetings for groups to be able to implement and try things out. Then also what's part of this is access to over 90 hours of recorded trainings. So you may have already seen, and if you've participated in trainings already, you might have watched some of these, but this is the on-demand courses platform where there's just extensive resources and trainings. So you will have people who participate in the coaching have access to all of that because it enables us to, for example, let's say it's a priority for the group to ramp up on using WhatsApp more powerfully. Well, we have a whole training, an hour and a half long training on that topic. And so rather than taking precious one-to-one hours, what we do is assign you to watch a particular thing. And then after you've watched it, we have a session just to really talk about how to implement it. So it really makes the coaching go a lot farther and it's more efficient. And so the cost for this is, you know, it's a lot more in the US for sure, but for we think we can do this for Africa and MENA groups for $3,000, which is the way we've calculated that. It's the 40 hours times $60 an hour plus $600, which is the minimum that we charge for all of the access to the recorded trainings. And so what we're saying is that for just kind of it's probably a one-time, we don't have the ability to do this unless we get additional foundation money to subsidize, which we don't have. But we can do this for up to 15 groups where we're going to subsidize half that cost so that the total cost would be $1,500. And the application has to be in by February 28th. We'll review, we'll make sure there's a good fit. And then the idea is we'd start in March. And the team members who will be helping to provide that coaching include people that you've just met earlier, Joska, Asha, Safa, Philip, Ahmed, myself. There may be particular instances where we pull in other team members who have particular expertise. We have about 70 people who have been pulled in different ways across the world for different purposes over the last year. So there's a much broader team, but this is the Africa MENA team that will be doing, you know, at this point, most of the coaching. And I will say we don't have, other than myself, I'm fluent in French, but we do not yet have Francophone Africa team members. So that is a real, or Portuguese speaking. And so that is a limitation, and that is currently we're working on building out. And so that is why any group that participates has to have the ability at this point to do the coaching in English. Some of the things that we cover in coaching include strategy and tactics development, digital security, narrative development. So your story inspires people to act. We found that that's an extremely important piece of the work because a lot of groups are not using a narrative, a frame for their campaign that's sufficiently engaging to activate a broader audience than just their narrow base. And we have to be able to do that in order to create a reasonable threat to a target who cares about a much broader audience. Fundraising, list expansion for activation of your larger audience, ramping up on Twitter for media, for visibility with the media and also with your targets, ad campaigns, texting campaigns. That's especially important where people don't have general internet access or computers, video and content development, websites and microsites being a very small, simple campaign website, surround sound campaigns on targets. And this really goes to developing out campaign strategies. Surround sound being this idea of creating a situation where your target is hearing your narrative, your campaign narrative from all sides. Everywhere they look, they are hearing about this. And training members and building social media warrior committees, or whatever you want to call it, but committees of members that can really ramp things up. This is a quick list of the topics that are covered in the on-demand training. So, you know, there's a lot here, but it gives you an indication of the kinds of online kind of skills that we think are important, that are part of what SMT can provide to a group depending on what the priorities are.